T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of flight ALFHA, go
Flight operator, transition to ascent ops, ground operators, please. Transition to ground, channel frequency.
Vehicle supersonic. Max Q.
Man, you can see the atmosphere thinning.
You really can. That plume expansion there.
That's beautiful. Should be coming up on Miko here.
T plus 2
in about
minutes.
30 seconds.
God, the way that comes back together, it's literally the exhaust gases bouncing off the atmospheric pressure and then coming back together. Continuing to go down range here. Two and a half minutes after
Miko.
liftoff. Coming up on
Stage separation.
Miko.
Stage 2 ignition. Chamber pressure looks nominal.
Bearing separation.
Have a view from the vehicle here.
You can see the fairings jettisoned.
Yep.
Otherwise, you couldn't see the Earth.
The limb of the Earth in the background. Little bit of motion there. But now we're into that longer second stage burn. The lightning doing its job to get that horizontal velocity going around the Earth. And there is that aft-facing view in the background there where the rocket just took off from. Here you can see the booster is no longer behind the rocket. I don't think we can see it in this shot. I suddenly wonder if that little dot up there is it. But this is the second stage, looking backwards at the engine on the second stage. Looks like some of the trackers are having a little bit of difficulty keeping it in frame there. It's really interesting how clear the exhaust is here. But once again, going to stay with it. We are going to come up on an expected comms blackout. We're going to try to share with you the views here from the vehicle as long as we have them. The comms blackout is expected, but it's also a little estimated. So if the feed cuts out a few seconds before the exact timing that we were talking through, that might be nominal.
Yeah.
How you doing, Morgan?
I'm doing great. Sorry, I'm being handed things. And I can only focus on one thing at a time. Yeah, I'm doing great. That was a beautiful launch. And I just love watching these camera views.
Yeah. It was a little tough there with the marine layer. We had a lot of bloom on the ground. A little tough to see the rocket lifting off. I love that we kicked it off with the engine shot. Just kept it with the engine shot as they sort of exited that blast camera down in the trench itself, or I guess right under the engines. But Lightning and Stage 2 continuing on with the propulsion here.
Yeah, again, we're expecting to burn this engine until T plus 8 minutes and 28 seconds.
Right.
That's when we expect SECO.
So another 2.5 minutes roughly in this burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, here, this phase of flight is all about gaining velocity around the planet, right? First stage got us up out of the atmosphere. It got us sort of away from the ground a little bit. And here, we're basically flying sideways. See this question a lot, like, oh, why did the rocket turn sideways? And then look like, from my perspective, it was going back down to the water. Well, the Earth is round. It was going around the Earth, over the horizon. That's exactly what the Lightning engine is doing here, pushing that stage. And the payload... I like this. Look, we got both cameras.
Oh, nice.
On around the planet.
Yeah, orbit is basically just falling constantly and just missing.
Missing, yeah. Coming up on T plus 7 minutes. We're also listening into Mission Control now, so if any call-outs come from Mission Control, you will get them directly from there. That really is just a cool shot. Like you could even see, like it's headed south, and the sun was rising. To the, like if you were on the rocket, the west would have been the left-hand side of the rocket, and there you can see the Earth a little bit illuminated there, and then a little bit darker on the right-hand side.
You can see the sun reflecting off of the rocket itself.
Yep. But about 7.5 minutes, and coming up in just about a minute, we're expecting that SECO, second engine cutoff. Again, we may not have views all the way up to that. We will see. We're going to share the views with you as long as we have them. But let's see here in about another 30 seconds whether we get those views the entire time. And then remember, the payload deploy is not expected to be seen live here. The payload deploy isn't happening until a while after SECO.
Yes. So SECO happens again at about 8.5 minutes, coming up here in a couple seconds, and then we'll see our planned comms blackout a little after 9 minutes. Payload deploy will happen somewhere around, I think, 12.
Right. I'm watching the flicker of the second stage engine there. And had the SECO call out from Mission Control, and you could also see the engine shut down.
Expected LOS at VTRS in 60 seconds.
And rapidly approaching that expected LOS like we talked about before liftoff. Back in Mission Control, you can see everyone focused on their consoles. I think the call out was assessing data.
Oh, yeah. When I run tests and things, I wish I have more than 3 monitors. I usually see a bunch of flack for people having 3 monitors in the control room, but you're actually looking at a lot of data at once. You've got the GUI on one, you've got all your plots on another, you've got cameras on another, and then sometimes I want a fourth for another another monitor full of data, because there's just so much to look at one time.
Right. Now coming up on T plus 10 minutes. We are going to have some replays for you coming up here of the liftoff, cameras we didn't show live. And also we'll talk how you can keep up to date with the mission status here. So now's the time when we can ask, if you were out at home, did you step outside during liftoff, and were you able to see that? If you're over there in LA or San Diego, over in Phoenix, Arizona maybe, all the way over to Albuquerque, let us know in the chat, did you catch any information, did you catch any shots of that launch? And I think we just heard the LOS there. And tag us on social media if you did. All right. So, folks, that is the views that we are able to share, that we have, because we are now in that comms blackout. And as we discussed earlier, because of the long delay before we're expected to get that signal back, then the priority order of downloading the data, getting the telemetry first, and then getting any video that's able to come down of payload deploy, that's not going to happen for almost another hour and 20 minutes. So we will not plan to stay live through that. But as a quick reminder, you can keep up with what the mission status is by following along on social media. Best place might be the Firefly main website, where you can find all the social media accounts, but expect updates as to the mission status after we get the folks here in Mission Control assessing the data that came down before that, and then getting any data that comes down after the comms blackout ends in another 25 minutes or so. We're going to stand by for just a few more minutes to see if we have any updates for you. All right. The big thing here is the data coming down, the team's reviewing the data that came down on the rocket. And I think our best possibility here is to start wrapping up and have y'all give you the good information on how to find on social media and on Firefly's website further mission updates. Firefly is going to provide an update on payload deployment within the next couple of hours. So stay tuned on X, the website, etc., etc. Now, looking ahead, there's a lot happening for Firefly through the rest of the year, isn't there, Morgan?
Yeah, we have a ton happening in the remainder of the year. So Flight 6, check mark. We're going to be continuing to work with our customer on that for the next, couple hours. And then Alpha Flight 7 is coming up pretty quick with Lockheed Martin's TACSAT in the next couple months. So that will be a dedicated mission again for Lockheed Martin, Alpha Flight 7. We also have Victus Haze, which is a mission coming up soon. Alpha will be launching another U.S. Space Force responsive space mission, so kind of a follow-on to Victus Nox. Victus Nox was our Flight 3 for Alpha, and it was a rapid response. You get a call, and you have to launch, or be prepared to launch within 24 hours.
Right.
So Victus Haze is kind of a follow-on to that. We also have Elytra Mission 1 coming up here pretty quick. So our first on-orbit Elytra mission will be later on this year. Blue Ghost Mission 2, which I actually have.
Yeah.
Probably see if I can move it without
the duck.
Without the duck. But yes, putting it in the right spot, maybe. That's a lot.
You may have to hold that one up. The table's down low, yeah.
Yeah, so Blue Ghost Mission 2, we'll be launching BGM-2 as early as 2026.
Right.
This one will be going to the far side of the moon, and it will also include operation in lunar orbit with Elytra. So yeah, we're making really good progress on manufacturing and test right now for BGM-2.
Right.
And not only with Blue Ghost, Elytra, Alpha, all of that going on, we're still making, crazy headway with MLV. So MLV's neck deep in, our qualification and flight builds. We're going to be testing that pretty quick. So yeah, it's just kind of all coming to a head.
We had Miles Gray on the show yesterday talking through some of the MLV progress. MLV is the medium launch vehicle,
yes,
much larger than Alpha, that is currently in production. I mean, there are segments, there are engine mount areas, the main tanks the qualification tanks are being made out there at Briggs.
It's kind of crazy because MLV is a lot of what I've been working on, specifically the tanks, obviously. And it's kind of hilarious to walk through Building 6 and you see ALFHA, which, you know, you get used to a 6-foot diameter rocket. It's pretty big. And then you look to your left and you look up at MLV. It's like about 14 feet diameter rocket. It's so much bigger. It almost makes ALFHA look like a toy.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely a big step up.
It's a totally different ball game. But folks, that is going to end our live coverage for today.